Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me okay? Welcome to the December online chapter meeting of the Building Designers Association of Australia, the last one for 2021. My name is Jennifer Binns and I'm a building designer in Tasmania, and I host the online chapter meetings. So I've got Sarah Jane in the background managing technology today. Post us a message in the chat box and let us know where you're logging in from, and thank you very much for joining us. We've got a busy week coming up with events prior to Christmas. Sarah Jane will post the links in the chat box, but I'll just go through some of the ones that are coming up. Tomorrow is WeatherTech's Wednesday, and WeatherTech will be discussing the latest design trends in cladding. So this is a 30-minute quick informative session, so log on for that one. And on Thursday, we have PC Thomas talking about the NCC changes for 2022. The following week, we have Wayne Floyd giving a presentation on Tuesday on the NCC changes and how they relate to thermal performance assessors. On Wednesday, the 15th at 10 a.m, the New South Wales Government is presenting the National Scorecard. And this is an event specifically targeted to New South Wales to inform members of the future opportunities in conducting in-home energy assessments for existing homes under the NAFIS framework. And then it's Christmas, and the BDAA office will be closed from the 23rd of December, returning on Wednesday, the 12th of January. So there will be no online chapter meeting in January. One of the first events we'll be kicking off with in the new year in February is a face-to-face event in Victoria with Responsible Wood. So keep an eye out for those details, and Victorians save the date of 2nd of February. So before we start our presentations, just a quick run through of the Zoom tools. You're welcome to ask questions throughout the meeting, as usual, using the Q&A box, and our presenters will answer your questions either throughout the presentation or at the end. The Q&A feature also allows you to upvote topics. If you'd like to ask a question via audio, there's a raise your hand tool, and we just ask that you check there's no background noise that will interfere with the audio when we unmute you to ask a question. The chat box is there as a continuous message thread for comments, and Sarah Jane will use the chat box to post links. So comments in the chat box, questions in the Q&A box. So moving on to today's presentations. First up, we have AWS Architectural Window Systems, who are our major partner. Today, they're going to be doing a fly around Australia, introducing all of their business development managers. So it's great to be able to put a face to a name when you need to specify windows and you need assistance, and you'll know who to call. So we have Fazan. Have we got you online? Ready to go?
Good afternoon. Can I share my screen?
Welcome. I can see you. I can't hear you.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Fazan.
Perfect. Perfect. And can I share my screen?
Is it just me, Sarah Jane? You got?
I can hear Fazan fine, so I think it may be just you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you, Jen.
Okay. I can see the slideshow. I'll hand over to you. We've still got no audio. Sarah Jane, have you got audio?
Okay. So I hope you can hear me now, if that's. Does everyone can hear me now? Sarah Jane?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Farzan from Architectural Window Systems, AWS, and we are here today for a quick introduction about our company, our people, and delivering the message that we're here to help. So let's start with AWS brand, see who we are and our values, and since we started. We've been around since 25 years ago. We're proudly an Australian-made company. We're one of Australia's leading suppliers of aluminium window and door systems. We design, test, finish, and supply aluminium windows and doors, all here in Australia. Our extrusion and powder coating plants are in Victoria and Queensland. We care about energy, and we're proud about our contribution to save energy in the building industry by designing and developing energy-friendly products. We support regional local businesses. Nationwide, we have almost 200 licensed fabricators in our network. Many of them are family businesses or simply owned and operated by some of our local passionate friends, and of course, some others are big factories. Many of them started from scratch and now running some of the most beautiful, modern, organized manufacturing companies in our country. And we are proud to have our own share of contribution in this journey by supporting them. And finally, we have great human resources in almost all the states. And now a quick introduction about our representatives, starting from my very good friend in Victoria, Alistair Baldwin, who is online now. Alistair, can I ask you to say hi to the participants here?
Yeah, hi everybody. Some of you might know me. I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown of who I am, where I've come from. My name is Alistair Baldwin. I work in forward specification as part of the spec team for Victoria and Tasmania. I've worked for the best window manufacturer for nearly 8.5 years now, and really enjoy helping architects, designers, engineers, energy raters, builders with all their window and door issues. As some of you might be able to tell, I am not Australian. I moved here around 9 years ago. I'm an architectural technician, but I didn't want to become an architect. I wanted to focus on one thing, and I focused on windows. I spent most of my working life in Scotland working for a company called Saint-Gobain, which is the largest glass manufacturer in the world. So I've always been involved in windows and glass. My girlfriend, now wife, asked if I wanted to do a bit of traveling and see what else was out in the world. So I agreed to that, and we ended up, after traveling around the world for a year, we ended up in Melbourne working for AWS. And they are a pretty amazing company to work for. They were the first Australian manufacturer to bring a thermally broken window into Australia back in 2009, which is definitely essential here in Victoria and even more so in Tasmania. We now have 2 thermally broken machines based in Dandenong. So if any of you are based or even across the whole of Australia, if you ever want to come down, more than happy to show you them in action. We do have a great website that I think Farzan will touch on called Specify AWS, which is a really good website, but it can be a bit overwhelming at times. We do have a lot of products, 108 to be exact. That's where myself and the rest of the team come in to hopefully give you the right information so the best product is selected for your project, whether it be bushfire, energy, acoustics, powder coating, anodizing, massive doors, budget constraints, you name it, we can definitely help you out with it. So if you're in Victoria or Tasmania and you need help with windows and doors, feel free, give me a call, give me an email, but just make sure that you are close to a good cafe. I really have, I love my Victorian coffee. So make sure you're near a good coffee house, and yeah, we can chat about windows and doors. And that's me.
Perfect. And that's the main discussion, if the New South Wales coffee is better or the Victorian one.
I don't think so. It is Victorian. It is Victorian. Thanks, Farzan.
And perfect. Thanks, Alistair. We have Katrina Swiatek in South Australia. She's online now. Hello, Katrina. We cannot hear you.
Yes.
Oh,
How
we
about
can hear you now.
Great.
Good.
Okay. There you go. So for those who don't know me, I am based in Adelaide, and it is my 8th year in with AWS. So I've started a little bit after Alistair did. I'm an architect, and being with AWS is my first and so far the only job outside architectural practice as such. So I really enjoy working with many architects and designers that I have worked before in a different role during my years when I was in practice, and also I enjoy meeting the new emerging designers, architects, and those who just coming into practice. So I enjoy visit studios and practices in person and provide face-to-face assistance, and that's probably what I enjoy most. However, that has been challenged over the last 2 years, but still thanks to the this technology, we can almost do it face to face, and that certainly has been a practice, and how I do a lot of assistance over the last couple of years or 18 months or so. Being an architect certainly has been helping me to understand the challenges and design criteria and all things that need to be looked at through the design of the glazing elements of the building. And from my background, I was always interested in reusing, repurposing buildings and improving livability of the existing ones, as much as being, interested in newest technologies, newest designs, and being incorporated into the building envelope to make the buildings a better place to be inside. Working with AWS has certainly helped me to pursue this path that I've always been most interested in. And I enjoy challenges of finding right solutions that require both understanding of design requirements and thinking outside the box approach. I like to assist design process early on in stage where it's, so to say, not set all in concrete, where there is more space to move and being able to actually make it work rather than last minute decisions that often are not the best solutions for the user or the client in that respect. So contact me with anything that pertains to glazing and aluminium, and that includes specification like what Fazan has already covered, information on product solutions, not just energy requirements, but also acoustics, bell rating. However, all the difficult problems and questions, I reckon you should contact Alistair, that you've just met.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were actually going to say that.
So, coffee-wise, I don't really need to say anything. I reckon you all need to come to South Australia to actually enjoy coffee. So leave it at that, and back to you, Fazan.
Thank you. Perfect. And we have Stuart Wimmer in Western Australia. He's not today with us. Just very quickly, he has been with AWS for almost 10 years. One of our greatest resources in company. We're all proud of him and all the greatest efforts he has done so far. So contact Stuart if you're in Western Australia. And finally, our dearest Carl Morby in Queensland, with the upcoming opening borders that hopefully we can travel there. Hello, Carl.
Thanks, Farzan. In Queensland, we don't drink coffee, we drink beer. So, you two can fight it out for the coffee, I can tell you. But anyway.
Good on you.
Sorry about that. There you go. It wasn't open, by the way, just in case the boss is watching. It will be when we're finished. Hi, everyone. I'm Carl from Queensland. And basically, I cover a little part of New South Wales with Farzan. I cover down to sort of Port Macquarie area, but between the both of us, we both answer questions all over the place. I started my life as an apprentice carpenter in New Zealand, and basically after leaving that, I ended up in the aluminium industry, where I've been probably for the last 20 years. So I suppose the big thing, the message that we want to get today is that, yep, look, we're here to help. We're here to help you get your clients' wish list sorted out for windows and doors. My motto is you can have anything you like, as long as you want to pay for it. So, send us your oddball questions. I always say, send us what you want to do, then we can work backwards from there and make sure that you end up with something you want. Wind loads, acoustics, Bell 40, energy. We cover a fair things, and with the great team of fellows we've got around us and our fabricating support people within the company, there's not too many questions that we can't answer. So I'm looking forward to obviously the borders being open. and we've been able to travel a bit further south than our little concrete structure that we've put up to keep all you New South Wales people out. But anyway, I'm overpaid, I'm underworked, so send me an email anytime. And Katrina's correct. Anything hard, send to Alistair in Victoria.
100%. And I agree as well. Alistair is the main star for hard questions. Thanks, Carl. And quickly about myself, I'm Farzan. Some people call me Tarzan. I mean, it's just the autocorrection on the phones and things. But yeah, I'm Farzan, based in Sydney. And of course, I travel to ACD as well, to Canberra, a week each month. I'm there. Happy to catch up with building designers and architects about your projects. My background is architecture. I've been practicing for almost 10 years. And then I joined AWS since 3 years ago. And I've been really enjoying my job, this career, and working closely with architects and seeing the projects from different perspectives, and ending up with having, let's say, different solutions based on the doors and window systems that we can offer is something that is becoming my passion these days. And like Carl said, Carl and I are just covering some, let's call it a common area in New South Wales, close to Queensland. Of course, Carl is helping the Queensland parts as well. I'm normally travel to Newcastle to the north, and south to Wollongong, and west to Canberra. That's pretty much about me. And these are normally the solutions that we offer from AWS, as my colleagues just mentioned, are tested and certified systems. The BAL 40 ones, the consultation we can give based on the tests we did on our products about the acoustics, the cyclonic, BAL 40, livable, and aged care. So if you had any question about the access requirements for doors and window systems, acoustics, energy concerns, we're more than happy to help you with that. And visit our website. There are good, let's say, heaps of information on there and showing the solutions and products that we can offer. And it includes the drawings, CAD drawings, Revit, and so on, and the spec manual for all of our products. And our contact details are there as well. And as you can see on the screen, reach out. We can offer you good coffee and also good chat about our products. And as the main message of today was, we're happy to help you with your projects. Thank you.
Thanks, Farzan. And I can hear you now, and everyone, apologies for the audio issues before. That was just on my end, I think. Nice to meet you, Alistair and Katrina and Carl and Stuart in your absence. And thank you for the trip around. If there are any questions coming through, there's just been a few comments, I think. Probably if anyone's got any questions for you, Farzan, we can send them through to you, and I'll just move on to our next presentation. So the next presenter is Peter Shea from Blower Door Services. And Peter today is going to give us a live demonstration of how a blower door test is conducted. Have we got you online, Peter? We might just wait for a moment. Peter might join us. Excuse me. So there's a question in there. Farzan, are you still online? Okay, if there's any questions, we can just send them through.
Actually, I am, if you can hear me now.
That's right. There's just a comment in here from Adam Weeder saying he's got a question about lead time. Is that a question for AWS?
Well, actually, it's more about our fabricators, to be honest with you. But somehow the short answer is yes, we are busy these days, which is a good, let's say, good thing to hear around. But there isn't any major delays as far as I know. So everything is on the track. Our let's say plants both in Queensland and Victoria are working on time. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alistair and Carl. But yeah, it is good. But check with our fabricators about the lead time, and they can help you with your orders.
Yeah, okay. There's been some fairly significant issues with fabrication. I can see Peter is online now, Fazan, so I'm going to say goodbye to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's time. And welcome, Peter.
Great, thanks very much. Nice to be here.
I'm going to hand over to you now.
Okay, well, look, I'm operating off my phone, so if anybody has any problems with me dropping out of picture or something like that, please let me know. Okay, so just at the moment while I'm talking to you, say my name's Peter Shea. I've been in the building industry for most of my life, mainly around construction. So work quite a lot with building facades, waterproofing, concrete repair and the like. And about 6 years ago, I was in Europe and I was staying with some friends in what was a very tight house and very, very comfortable even in the middle of winter. And I was starting to talk to them about what they were doing, and they introduced me to a gentleman who had a blower door. And it was only then I found out that these things are very commonplace in Europe and in the UK. And actually in most of these countries, it's mandated that you must get a blower door test on your house before you can get a certificate of occupancy. So depending on where you live, they have a limit of what they call their air changes per hour. So in the UK, it's 10 air changes per hour. So that means if you have 10, then every 6 minutes, you're reconditioning the air in your house at 50 pascals. And 50 pascals equates to about a 30-kilometre-hour breeze. As you move around different countries, a lot of Europe is around about 5. Some countries are 3. And again, a lot of people say, well, it's cold, you'd expect it to be a tight house. But New York and California are both 3, and quite a number of the US states are 5. Unfortunately, in Australia, we don't have a requirement for air changes per hour on a residential house. There is some work going on in the background to try and correct that. But the CSIRO did a report about 8 years ago, and they found that the average house was around about 15.5. So fairly leaky places. And there was quite a number of very tight houses in that as well. So as you move along in your tightness, you approach what they call passive house, which is a German certification level, and that is 0.6 of an air change per hour. So a very, very tight house. So 40 below outside, you can walk around in your shorts and t-shirts. Mind you, they do have what they call mechanical ventilation within the building. So that's very important when you get down to those levels. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to turn my phone around. Hopefully I can do this. I got it right last time. And then I'll walk you through the blower door. Then I'll turn it on and you can have a look at what happens. Now, I think it was a swipe down and somewhere I turned it around. Dear, oh dear, it's not working. There it is. Okay. I assume you can all see that because I can. So again, if you can't, can you please let me know? Okay. All right. So what we have on the blower door, we have this red fabric, which takes the place of the door within the house. Set that all up. It's fully adjustable. Mind you, some of the new houses that are coming out, some of the doors are very large, very difficult to put them into a hinged door, a pivoting door, but usually I'll put it into the laundry or the garage door at the time. Connected to it, we have a fan. So this fan is one of my large fans, depending on the type of house I'm testing. If I'm doing a very tight house, less than about 5 air changes, then I can go to a smaller fan. But this is the one I typically use on a 2-story, a house that's not designed for air tightness. We have a manometer here, and what that's doing is that's measuring the pressure that goes through the fan, the pressure which is inside the house, and the pressure which is outside the house. And that's all connected up to the laptop, and they do a calculation. So what it does is it can turn around and calculate how much air is leaving the building, calculate what the pressure inside the building is and the pressure outside, and therefore can work out how much air is actually leaking into the building. So it's a fairly simple process, but very, very revealing about the quality of your house. So as I said, the average house in Australia is 15.5. The worst house I've ever tested was about 42. So when you do a calculation on that and work it out, that's equivalent to having a door open in the house at all times. Okay, so what I'm going to do is going to turn it on. Just briefly, I'll just explain to you what I have here. I'm living in a building site at the moment. So the builders are here at the moment, and as you can see, they're putting the skylights in. So what I'm going to do for this particular test is just close off the kitchen, because that's the where most of the air is coming in from, and then I'll start the fan. So what I'll do is I just turn the fan on. And on my laptop, I can have a look at what's going on. Again, don't know if you can read this, but just here it's showing me that I've got 40 pascals of pressure in the house. I'll just bring that up a little bit more and give myself 50 pascals, which is what our normal testing is. All right. So away it goes. Now what I do is normally you would test at a number of different pressures and then you'll get a result. But for the example we're trying to do here, I just want to show you what this reveals. And if we turn around to the door here, now this is a cavity slider door, and this is the air leaking out of the cavity sliders. Cavity sliders are typically very, very poorly designed, and they leak. So unless the cavity slider is completely enclosed inside the cavity, then it will draw air from the top plate or your ceiling and bring it down into the house and leak. A very, very bad design these things are. If you don't look after them and you're trying to design a tight house and you don't take any care with the cavity sliders, you could lose 3 or 4 air changes quite easily between these. So what I do is I walk around with the house with a person, and I found a couple of little spots. Just bear with me. So typically the bathroom. You can see the little flickering there. Typically the exhaust fan on a bathroom doesn't have a damper on it. So therefore when the air is blowing, it'll suck the air straight back through the fan. So again, that's quite typical. And again, if you've got a large house and you've got 2 or 3 or even 4 bathrooms and they've all got exhaust fans, again, a great source of air leakage. Easily fixed. If you turn around and design the house and you make sure you have dampers on it, then you can have a very good result. So again, excuse the house because we've had to move furniture and everything to get the builders in. But I just wanted to show you a door. So typically, you can't see it because of the backlight too much, but I have a smoke detector, and you'll see the air is just rushing out of this door. So again, doors that don't have seals on them can be a major source of a problem. Alternatively, I use a thermal camera, and again, a little bit difficult but you might just be able to see the white sections right up the top. You can see the joists in the ceiling, and just below them, there's a couple of little areas which are quite white and yellow. That shows me that there's a few little cracks at the ceiling, and the hot air from outside inside the roof cavity is leaking into the house. The other areas that leak quite badly are the joint between the floor and the walls, because people tend to leave a gap there when they're building, or when you put the base plates on the concrete slab, then the air will come between the base plate of the frame and the concrete slab and come into the house. So generally as I said, what I'll do is I'll run the fan at a number of different speeds, and then that will turn around and give me a graph, and it will turn around and tell me what the leakage factor of the house is. There's a lot of people around at the moment trying to build much tighter houses, and I find myself being asked more and more often now, we want to get less than 3. Can you help me out? So really good, you can do that. Look at an old Federation house. Again, one of the problems with those sort of houses is a lot of them have the vents in the rooms. So those vents need to be sealed. And there's a couple of ways of doing them. Some of them have like a fly mesh in the back of them. If that's the case, you can just paint them with a high build acrylic paint or something like that and block all the cavities up. But again, a lot of the floorboards will be leaking. Very, very hard to do that. So you need to go right around the whole house and identify where all the leaks are. Sarah Jane's got a few thermal images, which she'll distribute to you later on if you're interested in looking at those, but there's some there now. So again, if you look at the top one, you can see the air is leaking out around the fan. And the second one, same thing, but these are probably more related to the fact that the air conditioning's got a problem with it, and the air's leaking out through the air conditioning. Or in that second one down, you can see the air is actually leaking from behind the fitting. Another place where they leak quite often is you'll see in the third one down and the fourth one down, you'll see the blue lines coming along the top. If you walk around your home and you look at your architraves on your windows, if you put your fingers up the top and run your fingers along the top of your architraves, more often than not, there's a gap there. And the reason the gap's there is because the people finishing the job don't bother sealing up there because nobody can see it. But again, a great source of air into your house. I think that's about it. Has anybody got any questions?
Hi, Pete. I think you've answered. The only comment was about the Federation House, so I think you've covered that one. Are there any other questions for Peter while we've got him online? Maybe if you just hang online for a moment.
Yeah, I belong to an association called ATMA, Air Tightness Testing and Measurement Association, and we're affiliated to the UK membership as well, and that's the biggest single tester in the UK. They've tested over 1 million houses in the UK, and what we're doing is I think we've probably got about 60 or 80 members of ATMA sprinkled around Australia. The biggest number of them would be in Victoria, where they seem to have a much higher recognition of cold, and they're trying to get their houses sealed. But there's some people in every capital city in Australia.
So you are finding an increase in demand for your services?
Yeah, most definitely. Yep. When I started 5 years ago, I'd probably be lucky to be doing one a month, and I'm probably doing a couple a week now. So it's certainly picked up a lot. And there's been a few changes with the Green Building Council as well. I think it's class 7 and 8. It's mandatory to have a pressure test or an air blower test on your building. So
And you
it should-
and retesting after works have been carried out?
Yes, sometimes I've been getting people who have moved into a new house and they're not happy with it. They think it's cooler than it should be in winter. And I can go around and diagnose where the problems are. A recent problem I had was a house just finished 2 months ago, and there's no seals on the front door or the bathroom door or the garage door. And depends on who you talk to, but if you talk to me, I would say it's a conditioned space. But if you're looking at the NCC, it says it's not a conditioned space. But beats me how you can have a non-conditioned space inside your house, but it is.
Well, certainly if it's connected to the conditioned space, it affects it.
Certainly is, yeah, certainly is, but it's a very grey area. The other thing that a lot of people leave out when they're designing is the door to the garage. Now, quite often there's a very large gap below that. That's probably 15 to 20 mil I've seen, and no seals on the door. And that's because that door is not considered part of the envelope, because it's going into a garage, not going outside. Well, in actual fact, that's wrong. It's going outside. And the last thing you want coming into your house is car fumes. So if you're designing a house, then a good idea is to turn around and put a sealed door on the garage.
Michael's just posted a question saying, is standard baffle on wall and ceiling vents okay, or is it best to find a better ceiling baffle? And if so, can you suggest a brand?
A baffle on a fan, was that? Sorry?
On vents, wall and ceiling vents.
Yeah, wall vents. Yeah, there's quite a number of them around. They need to be spring loaded. And just depends on the type of fan you get. Some of them are built into the fan. Other ones you put on later on. The ones you've got to be a bit careful of is when you've got multiple vents going to, say, your bathroom and your clothes dryer area, and that you'll have a very light little baffle on it, but you've got a lot of airflow going through, and it won't stand up to the breeze when it really starts to blow. So you need to make sure you get a good quality one.
Of existing houses, you know, you're talking about air leakage through behind architraves and skirting and the like. I mean, where do you get your biggest bang for buck? Is it doors?
Okay, look, there's a lot of really low-hanging fruit in a house. If you look at my house, we walked around. When I first tested this house, it was just on 18.8, and it's now testing at 11. And I know where my next big one is. Unfortunately, it's the floorboards, and it's actually coming through the floorboards, so I need to seal everything underneath. But basically, I sealed around the top of every window, went all the way around. I put seals on all the external doors, apart from the top one upstairs, which I just showed you. I need to replace that door altogether. But the architraves and the ceiling around the doors was a really big one.
It made a big difference.
Yep.
So Paul's just posted a comment and said sealing up the house would only be half the job. How do you deal with condensation, for example?
Yep. Look, if you're designing for a tight house, then you'll probably be building in some sort of mechanical ventilation for it. But unless you've got a house which you're going to bring down from, say, 15 down to 5, and that would be very difficult to do, condensation is not a huge problem. It only gets to be a problem when you get below about 5.
Okay.
And to that point, I've seen houses, well, not houses, units, mainly units, that have been built very, very tight by accident, down to 2.5 and 3, and they have massive condensation problems. And that's because they weren't built thinking about having a tight building, and there's no mechanical ventilation in them.
Yeah, okay. Alistair has asked, how much does it cost to run a blower door test?
Okay, it varies a little bit, but just depending on it, probably around about $600 to $800, depending on what I'm doing. If you're looking at, say, the really low end where you're doing passive house or something like that, then it becomes a little bit more expensive, up around $1,200, because there's quite a lot of requirements of reporting for me to do to the Passive House Association when they're trying to do it. But typically for me to walk in and do your house, about $600, $650.
Just tell me again, what's the standard for a passive house?
0.6.
0.6.
Airtight.
It's
It's
very
like living in an esky. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really, really airtight. But again, there's mechanical ventilation operating 24/7 in that sort of place.
Yeah.
And mechanical ventilation, it will cost you a similar number to fully ducted air conditioning, and runs at about 1/10 the cost to run it.
Okay, thank you.
problem.
Unless there's any other questions coming in, I will wrap up our meeting. So for this meeting, we don't have a QR code, so everyone needs to use their app and manually log in to log in this event. First of all, open up the app. Second step is to add a new CPD activity, which is a chapter meeting with educational speakers. And then the next step is just to enter the details and press submit. So if you've got any issues doing that, let us know and we can step you through that. Thank you very much for your time, Peter.
Yeah, no problems at all. And, you know, look, if anybody wants to just send me a question via my website at blowerdoorservices.com.au, I'm happy to just make a response to you. No troubles.
Yep, lovely. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye.
So just a reminder too that the BDAA head office will be closed from the 23rd of December to the 12th of January, and there will be no online chapter meeting in January. So our next meeting will be 1 p.m. on the 1st of February. So keep an eye out for the registration email as it's coming through. I'm just thinking there's another comment that's come through from Tim saying builders and trades need to be more aware of the benefits of air tightness, especially in cooler climates like Orange. Moving forward, air tightness should become part of the certification process. And no doubt, yes, it probably will be. Thank you very much for everyone's contributions to the meeting. Thank you to our presenters. Have a wonderful Christmas break if you get one, and look forward to seeing you in the new year. Okay, bye for now.